So welcome to this fabulous interview that we're about to undertake with the awesome Jason Parker. Thanks for joining me, Jason. How are you feeling, mate?
Thank you, Martin. I'm feeling really good and I'm really happy to be here and have a chat with you.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic. So for those of you watching this, I've had the pleasure of spending some time with Jason in this community. So Jason and I haven't met yet. I'm looking forward to that day. We've been building our friendship and relationship within this space through having those deep and meaningful conversations on different topics, sharing our experience. And I've thoroughly enjoyed building a relationship with this guy. And I'm looking forward to what is going to be shared throughout this interview. So let's start, Jace, with why is it that you're doing what you're doing? What's driving you in regards to the value that you're bringing into this space that is serving other people?
For me, it's really about connection and community. Having myself gone through and done some men's work and through breath work and coming together with other men and having an open space to really have a talk and not just having that beer. It's really having that deep connection and talking about things that really do affect our lives. And I feel that through this, we build strong friendships, a strong community, strong connections, and the ability for everyone to feel safe to be vulnerable and be authentic and not feel like we have to put on a face to present ourselves to other people. So it allows people to come back to themselves and really feel, I guess, some acceptance and some self-worth. So that's what's really important to me. Yeah.
And with that, then, obviously, when we speak about a lot about in the community around stuff that's gone on over the years and the experiences we've had that helped us become the people we are. So would you mind taking us back on this journey from childhood to where you are now? And it'd be interesting from my side, and I'm sure anybody listening to this, around what's driving that desire for community and connection with other people and contribution there. So yeah, let's start off as a kid.
Sure. Yeah. I take it back to some of my earliest childhood memories and growing up in I guess you could call it, I won't use the word stoic, but a hard English family. So, the generation of my family comes from those hard English backgrounds of the East End, if anybody knows England and those sorts of areas. I was born in Australia. My parents are the only family here in Australia. All my family are in the UK. But we were in what I would call a community environment through playing, we'll call it football because that's the technical term in England.
It's the correct term,
in the UK. It's the correct term, yes. So there was always a sense of community. But for me, myself personally, I always felt a little left out. I was a very shy kid. I found I struggled to interact with other people, although there was many people around. I started to withdraw a lot from that type of community. From about the ages of 10, I sort of noticed a real sort of sense of pull away, and I just want to be around myself a lot. And that sort of progressed through my teenage years, which led me to the question quite a lot without a lot of understanding at that age of who am I and what value do I have. So I would say through my late teens and early 20s, I was always just trying to fit in somewhere. So I made myself as appealing as I could through, you could call it role playing, of trying to be someone that would fit in somewhere else. And as I moved through those years and struggled to find my feet and where I was, and then started to move into my 30s, then I started to become conscious of being aware of my behaviours, of what was sort of happening, and saying, okay, this isn't me. I don't feel like I fit in, but I don't really want to fit in. I feel good being who I am. And then through that, I started to notice when I was with community, so around my football club, training at the gym, which was group classes, and having that sense of community, I felt a safe space to be myself. I could start to form relationships and connections where I didn't have to wear a mask anymore. I could just be me. And that really sort of lit the path. And it probably wasn't until I moved into my 40s, and I'm in my 40s now, I'm in the later side of my 40s, but I think that spiritual awareness and that emotional awareness and learning about emotional intelligence and having roles in jobs where I was a leader as well really brought about that sense of having a good community and having good connections is what drives all of us as human beings. Is we all want to feel like we fit in, instead of trying so hard to fit in. If we have a community, we all start to fit in. And then I progressed into that brought on more feelings of the spiritual side of myself and that emotional side, and sort of looking back into my childhood and saying, okay, what are the behaviors I now do that are from those years that I can sort of let go and move into myself? And that's when I came across men's groups specifically. I had tried counselling, psychologists, therapists, and even talking to women, as we think as men, on that softer approach on the feminine side, which is great. And I still do have those connections. But I think I really just wanted to be around men that we could share those similar stories and have a great, a real sense of connection to be able to allow ourselves to feel vulnerable and open up and talk about those. And that's when I found the men's group. And that's when that really started that birth of, okay, I'm really starting to come back to who I am now. And who I am inside is starting to radiate out, rather than me trying to forcibly have this mask and say, this is who I am. So for me now, stepping into this space in YDS and finding that community that is open, and not just only in men's circles, but around the masterminds and some of the other masterclasses, it just brings a real sense of community, allowing people to openly share, be vulnerable and be authentic, and make new connections with people all over the world. And that's the beauty of this space and the internet.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for sharing there. Excuse me, I resonated on so many levels, and you really took me back to time when I used to play football with the team. And it's really been interesting, because as I was listening to you, I was thinking back to them when I played football with the lads, and then went working for myself, and it was just me on my own, and I'm as a carpenter in particular. And then my gym mates, so there was a big group of us that would go out together, and so it was like community with football on my own, community with the gym guys. Then I came to Australia on my own, and carried on as a self-employed carpenter. So there was just me. I didn't really know anybody here. And then ended up getting into network marketing, and there was a community of people, like-minded people. I was back in that. And every time, even though I class myself as a strong, independent male who's very in touch with his emotions and feminine side, on that journey that you were sharing there, it really amplified those moments in my life where I've thrived the most in and around others, working with others. Even when I worked in the mines and I was, they promoted me as a team leader, it was all about working together, collaboration, and listening to each other and sharing ideas. So thank you for helping me see that part of my journey to this point as well. Because there's definitely a lot of synergy there. It was beautiful to go there. So with that in mind, in regards to, and you're very clear, I have to say you're very clear on how you communicate it, which clearly you've opened that door inward, and you're going with what feels right, rather than what maybe society externally is telling you should be doing and you should have at this later stage of your 40s life. But what's driving you from an angle of this vision, this in the future? What is it that you see being created by yourself and the people you collaborate with?
For me personally, it's seeing other people being able to come out of their shell, and bring back community. I think that's the biggest word for me, and that drive is community. And I feel a very strong pull towards that word. And it's a natural progression in my life that has happened over the last few years of connecting with people. And what comes from that is a community, and people start to come together. We share and we talk, and then groups form, and it just, for me, that desire is the ability that everybody has this inside of them to build communities. And I feel in the world, especially in my current employment, I work in the local government sector as well. I see a lot of what's the right type of word? A lot of people distracted from community. People are becoming so isolated within their own environments, and it's just not the same. When I speak of when I was a child, the neighbours over the fence, the parents having a beer and a chat over the fence, and the street all knew each other, and that element is really sort of gone now. And I think that as a human race, we want connection and community. It's a basic human element. So for me, that vision is to bring that all back, to have people come together, and it radiates out, and then more people start to come in. Once they feel that sense of community, people want to share and they want to talk and open up, and they have a space, whether it be within the space of the men's circle or whichever it is. That really is my vision of the future, and helping people to be more vulnerable, be more authentic.
Yeah, beautiful. So really, the power of what you're saying is to build community where people can, in its own essence, connect.
Yes. Yep.
Be seen, be heard. Yeah, share. Yeah, help each other.
Yep. And I think that generation. Sorry to interrupt there.
No.
This generation of social media, although there is some great benefits, it's very destructive for people who tend to isolate away, and that's their only social outlet is through social media. Although they are connected via all these optic fibers, they really still feel that sense of loneliness. So if we can bring that space into this environment, amazing. People will want to connect because they feel connected, rather than just through a screen as per se.
Yeah, I truly resonate with that. We were discussing it on one of the calls. I can't remember if it was in the men's circle or one of the other calls that we facilitate, but the angle of that social media is fantastic for initial connection. If you think about, you and I met via social media, but we didn't build a true bond and trust with each other until we got in a safe space where we were able to share. And it's been really interesting how the thing that often comes up in my circle of influence, if you will, my space, is people know me for my role in one of my businesses, and when they come into a space where I'm talking openly, not about anything to do with the business, that they're like, wow, I had no idea that you thought this way or spoke this way, and it's like they're blown away, because all that they chose to associate me with is that business, not me as a human being, not seeing me for my true worth. And I think that's where the power of what you were saying there is creating that community space, helping people come together, but more importantly, letting them know that this is a safe environment and we're here to support each other on the path. If we just chose to behave that way, think of the world that we could co-create. It's beautiful.
It is.
And I really want to touch on. I know you shared more around the journey from childhood to this point, and there were some significant things that you shared there. But then we know that the vision's in the future. So we've spoken about the why before, why you do what you do. And this is the same for everyone. Most people have no idea because they've never gone down this path. But the why is very much from the past, our past experiences that are driving the actions and the reason why we want to go forward and achieve whatever it is that we want to achieve in the future. So what would you say your why is?
For me, my why is, it's what lights me up inside. It's the energy I get, not just from the value that I provide, but also the value I receive from the people that come into the community. I know when I started this, I really underestimated what my experiences bring out in here. And I think a lot of people are the same. And when they first come into this space, it's a little bit tentative. But once they see that here I am, this is who I am, I'm not here to judge, I'm here to connect and share stories, share experiences. What I get back in return is just as amazing. So for me, that why is driving other people to do the same. It really is opening those connections within people that they can allow themselves to their light to shine, at which then allows all of us to do the same. And vice versa for me. Once I allow my light to shine, I allow other people to do the same. And I know that's a cliche statement. I'm not sure who said that. I think it might be Mary Angelou.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I think so. But that has always stuck with me, that saying. So I think that's my biggest driving factor, and why is that I want to help people build themselves within this space, have a sense of community, have that openness to be vulnerable. And I think that's where it really lights my soul, where I move forward and I feel my most present and I'm honoring my intuition. So, yeah.
I think that's beautiful. Basically, what you've experienced has played such a significant role in your life from a point of feeling emotionally, helping you show up as you are, that you want others to experience that, and you're willing to then commit yourself to assisting them on that journey to having that experience because it was so significant for you. Would that be a good summarize?
That's an excellent summarization, definitely. And I think through sharing experiences, and which can be traumatic for me, maybe not so traumatic for others, and everybody's got their own individual journey, but to be able to share that openly, it really does light my soul. So
it's fantastic. And that's the gift of giving. I mean, we've been talking about the universal laws, the gift of giving.
Correct.
And receiving.
Yes.
Total energy exchange. It's beautiful. So when we look at Jason, and let's imagine that we're now coming to view you online, we're going on your profile, whatever it would be. What is it that lights you up? So what are your values? What are your top core values that allow you, when you're in alignment with them, you're living in alignment with those core values? Because we know that they're challenged based on how we are showing up in the world and things like that. But when you're living in alignment, what are your top 5 core values?
My top core 5 values, number 1 is enjoyment. I think we all deserve enjoyment in life, and I think we are as human beings, we're very harsh on ourselves and very hard on ourselves personally, not what the outside world says. And I think bringing that sense of happiness back to ourselves is about enjoyment, and that can be through anything. it doesn't have to be through doing a specific activity. It can just be through sitting and feeling and learning to feel our own emotions. And I think it brings that sense of joy. So for me, that's number one. Another one of my values is actually leadership. I didn't realize that it was one of my values, and going through probably the last 5 years of my life, I realized that when I step into that space, it's very natural for me. So I hold that as a strong value to me, that we become, by being ourselves, we become great leaders. And much like yourself, Martin, stepping into this space and seeing you from a different perspective as well it's a form of leadership. So that's a value I have in myself, and I've probably held that for a long time without actually acknowledging it.
Yes.
Commitment is another value to myself. I find that in life, once we commit to things, we build discipline and resilience and things like that. And we honor ourselves by saying, if we're going to do something, we do what we say. And I think that's a really important value for me. Is I have struggled with procrastination and perfectionism throughout my life. So one of my values to me, through working through my men's group, is commitment as well, and learning to stand true to myself and do what I say I'm going to do. So I hold that one in high regard. Number 4 is connection. I can't emphasize that enough. I've gone through life trying to step back into the shadows and let everything pass by. But what truly lights my soul now is just connecting with people. It's simple conversations, it's deep conversations, it's any type of conversation, it's the smile, it's eye contact, simple human connection. Where that takes us and where that leads us it can be a beautiful space. So I love that value of connection, and it's something I try to implement every day, is talk to someone, have a smile, a conversation, and just bring that to the table. So for me, connection means everything. And number 5 is integrity. I think that just tops off all of those other values. If we do something with integrity and authenticity, then we really have honoured ourselves, and we honour other people in that process too. By we could umbrella that with truth, honesty, and all of those types of things as well. So for me, integrity is a huge part of my life, and it's probably, we throw that in. It's not something I knew of a long time ago, but once I worked through many different programs and speaking to people, once I had integrity, people then had faith in me that I am who I say I am, or I am who I present as I am. I'm not anything other than Jason Parker. So they're my big 5 core values.
Fantastic. I love how you expanded on each of them as well through that, without needing any prompting. You just went into a beautiful journey on each of them. So thank you for sharing that with me and us all watching this. On another note, sorry, the dog's snoring now. On another note, I know that you love traveling, going out in the bush, being in nature. Your Toyota, like, I know you like, there's things that excite you in your life that you do that also obviously serve you and fill your cup. So what would be one thing that, for obviously us, me listening now and anyone watching, what would you say was one of the things that really excites you, that really fills your cup, that's important that you do to really help Jason be who Jason is?
For me, what fills my cup is nature. raw nature, is getting out into those places that not many people set foot, and even where people do set foot, they're still beautiful. But for me, it's connecting with nature, having my feet in the sand, my feet in the ocean. I'm just about to embark on a trip to the Simpson Desert. Fingers crossed, it's not too wet out there for the 4-wheel drive, but just getting out of the car, taking those shoes off, and just appreciating the enormity of the planet we live on and how life just moves so balanced through those environments. And we're all connected to it. We're all a part of it, and it's, I mean, I just got a rush of energy just thinking about it then. So that's where I really feel most alive, is in those spaces. And even on my own, in solitude, there's not a sense of loneliness. There's a sense that everything is connected, and we're all connected in here. And it's just, I'm in awe of those places.
Yeah, I have, I'm envious. I'm not going to say I'm jealous. I'm envious of you going in the Simpson Desert for that trip with your friends. It's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it, especially because we'll be in South Australia, is where you're based.
Yes.
In several months, and I'll be catching. That's one of the great things. Obviously, we initially connected online, like we were talking about before, and we've built this friendship. Looking forward to the day that we get to embrace each other. So there's obviously 40 plus years of life experience that you've been taking us on this journey throughout this call, on snippets that have been significant to you and have helped mold you who you are. What would be one golden nugget of advice that you would give to somebody that is just from your heart, just from your experiences? Say, do you know what, if I was to give you one gold nugget, it's this.
Yeah. If I was to give anybody one golden nugget, I'd say let go of control. Let go of trying to control everything outside of yourself. We try to control relationships. We can try to control outcomes. We try to control so many things, even to the point we try to control the way we feel. If I could teach people to just sit still for 10 minutes and just feel into yourself, sit still, you could have some nice music on, but just let go and really start to come back to yourself. I think that's probably one of the biggest things with human beings, is we want to control everything so much that we think the outside world really affects how we feel and think, but ultimately it has no impact. We just need to let go. The only thing we can control is ourselves. So if we can get in tune with our mind and our hearts and our emotions, things just start to flow. So that's my biggest piece of advice, and something I've had to learn along the way. And I'm so glad that I have, because so every morning I do 10 minutes of meditation, and it's beautiful. I feel great for the day. There are things that are going to happen that are out of my control, and the point is I can't control them. And the more, if I do try, that's when those emotions I don't want to feel and the thoughts I don't want to think, and they come up, and we worry and we stress. And when we let go of all those things start to drop away. Our stress levels drop away. Our happiness increases, and we just start to feel good. I think that's what I want for everyone, is just to feel good.
Well, lesson there. Be careful of the questions you ask, because the response might be what you need to hear, but not necessarily what you want to hear. So
Yes.
yeah, that I resonate so much. So thank you, Jace, for that message that I needed. That golden nugget that I needed to receive.
Beautiful.
Because I'm learning. I have awareness around it, but I'm learning, and there's still some subconscious stuff that's controlling the actions, and also and basically habits. But obviously the awareness allows me to go, hey, come on,
Yeah.
and make the changes. So that is definitely a golden nugget for all of us,
Yeah.
not just in me receiving that. So thank you.
Beautiful. No worries. Thank you.
So you like what we were saying before, we met in on a different path, but you you resonated with me on one of the calls I was on. We've connected, and you chose to come and join in Your Desired Success community as a member first of all. So tell me more. I know you've mentioned about community, and obviously that can be in part of the answer, but tell me more about what it was specifically about YDS, because there's many other communities out there. What was it specifically that resonated with you that made you really or convinced you to step in to this space?
Yeah. I'll probably blow a bit of smoke up your bum to start with, but
Always ready to receive, mate.
excellent. I think one initially yourself. I always, even outside of I didn't know you outside of inside the YDS space, but outside of it, I always thought this guy's a pretty cool guy. He's calm and collected and all those things. And I think that's what helped me step into that YDS space, is just the way you spoke. And I just wanted to step inside. And then once inside the YDS community, there's all these other people in here that speak my language or have these stories and have these adventures. And as much as all our stories and adventures are different, how we act as human beings is all very much, it's similar with our mammalian brain and those types of things and behaviors. We're all very similar in a basic way, but I just think the gentleness, the non-judgment, the way in which things flowed and were easily really just brought me into, hey, this is really safe. This space is really safe. And I felt that almost instantly. So for me, it was an easy decision. This is where I wanted to be. And as I just said previously, not just connecting with yourself, but connecting with some of the other mastermind presenters as well has been phenomenal. Michael and Bunky and Carly and Rennie and a few of the others, which I can't remember their names at the moment, but it just felt like the place I needed to be. It just resonated with me, and the energy and the vibe was just the perfect space. So I can't recommend being in this space enough to other people, and it will be different for everyone. But for me, that was my main reason stepping into here, is I had a voice in here, and I think I didn't ask your permission for that. It was just an easy flow that allowed me to speak and have a voice. And ever since, I'm generally always the first one to put my hand up and say, I'd like to talk. So yeah, that's what YDS has brought for me.
Yeah, beautiful. I think we should go back. I think there's still a bit more smoke that can be blown up there about me. So there's still more to be shared. Come on. No, that was fantastic, and thank you for your kind words about me. And what I really enjoyed personally about what you shared was that was always the intention, to create that environment. And it's so beautiful to hear it back as to what we've co-created. Yes, I was originally Beth and I, the co-founders, but it takes people to co-create it, and people who want to truly step into a community aspect, which we've discussed before, is common unity. We had to make sure that we communicated it effectively as to what it is on the outside, so that when people came in, they had that exact same experience. So to hear it back from yourself and how eloquently you put it, it really does fill my heart, because it was always our intention. And it's really what I wanted to experience as a human being. And hearing that it's what you experience and other people experience, and that goes back to really what you were saying around your why. I've had this significant experience and I want to help other people have the same in their own way. So I'll just go out there and share my gift, share my knowledge, share my experience. In our case, we just went and created a platform that helps bring people together to connect and grow and succeed. So it was, I love how you put it, and I'm so grateful for receiving that and being open to receiving it. So thank you, Jace. But then there was also the aspect of the opportunity, let's say, with the work that you're, well, no, actually, I'm gonna change my language around this. With the way that you're investing your energy, your time into yourself, to learn more about yourself, to grow more, to be more valuable as a human being in the world. You know, we talk about co-creating a better world. Well, we have to become better for that to happen as an individual. This also created the opportunity for you to then step into this space of facilitating, like presenting the men's circle. You know, I was basically co-presenting it, and then the opportunity came around, and I just said, hey, you know, I felt energetically pulled toward you to say, is this something you want to do, mate? Because I feel that you would be a better person to be doing this than myself where I'm at. I'd really love to receive from you. So tell me more and tell us more around why you felt that this was the right time to step into that space.
Yeah, definitely. As I've said previously about doing all of the men's groups I've done, particularly outside of here as well, it just felt a natural progression that as I moved through those spaces, and I was doing it for me at the time, the learnings and the knowledge that I got from other men as well has allowed me to feel that pull towards wanting to step into a space like that. Be, I could say, a coaching type person, but it really is just a facilitator. Through my experience and being able to talk about my experiences and allowing people the space to open up and talk about their experiences, I think that's where my intuition just started to pull me towards. And I spoke with you about this as well, Martin, when that sort of pull, I just had to run with it. It's something I knew as I spoke of going with one of my values being leadership. I think it was just a natural progression that this was the space. And I'm grateful for you asking me to step into there as well. And yeah, it was already there. That pull was there, and I was sort of looking into what ways I could move into a coaching role. And I think this is, for me personally, as a stepping stone and a learning stone as well, of moving through that space and what it may bring in the future as well. What other things I can provide and what more value can I add through the learnings and even the masterminds in the other groups here. So I'm really looking forward to sharing my experiences here as well, and maybe someone else may be born of this role as well, and we can get some more people in here through my shared experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know you'd mentioned one of your other values of connection, and you just look at this alignment of what's taking place, and it really, you know, like going back to what you've been saying throughout this, you had to make a decision that was basically keeping you momentum to take you in the direction you wanted to go, for you to serve yourself, and you were open to it. And then what came about from you staying in alignment with yourself was now this opportunity to be presenter, which is, like you said, a stepping stone to something, you know, that in regards to the coaching space on a higher level. But the people you'll meet and the lessons you'll learn, and I know one of the guys, I see him as a role model, a father figure to me. He's been very, very successful. He's almost 70, and he's classed as a success coach, and he's been doing it for over 35 years. and successful in his other businesses and so on. But he said to me that the thing that he loves about this model that we've got here is that even though he comes in with his value, it's the ability to connect with other people on what they bring. And yes, he could come into this to the space with, as I'm the coach, I've done all these great things, you know, you need to listen to me, or I don't need to listen to anyone when they're talking. But he says he finds it fascinating, and he's learning and continually growing because he's stepping into an environment that he's not in control of, so to speak. He's just literally receiving and learning so much, especially because we all have different beliefs, different experiences. Yes, we'll be able to connect in some way, but often our belief can be completely opposite to somebody else's. And in a space where it's, or an environment rather, where it's actually unsafe, and we might not use that language because we haven't experienced safety. We just think, oh, this is our environment, we have to get on with it. But we don't show up as our true self from a point of a conscious human being and love and respect. Like people say, oh, one of my core values is respectfulness or being respectful. Well, when was the last time you were disrespectful to somebody else or yourself? And he said, like, it's such a beautiful experience because you can actually in the space is be curious and ask questions about, oh, well, tell me more around that. And I know that my beliefs, which, you know, with the work that we've done between 0 and 8, a lot your beliefs are created from the people around you, your parents or whoever's brought you up, and your teachers and so on. That often your beliefs aren't even yours. They've just been passed down through generations and through, you know, the educational system from teachers and stuff that's coming in, especially with our minds so open to receive that. I've actually let go of beliefs and gone in a different direction because the new, let's call it a new belief, felt right on who I am and where I am. And this letting go and this becoming, and hey, this feels right to me. That didn't, even though I've lived with that for 20, 30 years, doesn't feel right to me anymore. You know, just because I was brought up a Catholic doesn't mean that I have to continue on that journey. It doesn't feel right for me anymore. And there's no judgment or disrespect to anybody who chooses in particular, like, to be a Catholic and go to church and do whatever they do. There's no disrespect, there's no judgment there. It's, hey, this is what's best for me. And if you want to live in a world where, let's say, higher vibration and happiness and inspiration from other people, all you've got to do is respect me for my choices and know that, hey, I feel happier and I'm a better person by choosing to believe this way. Love me for that, respect me for that, because that's a good thing. Don't throw hatred or anger or frustration at me, because all you're doing is trying to create an unhappy world. It's so amazing, these conversations, and especially what he highlighted in regards to how much he's grown and how much he's become a better coach because of the environment that he's in and the conversations that are taking place, which, as you said, stepping stone, literally evolving not only as our in our walks of life and our businesses or our employment or whatever it may be, but as human beings, which is the most important thing.
Beautiful.
So the one thing that I wanted to highlight is that you said about presenting in the space. Who are the people you're looking for? That, you know, you mentioned men's circles, so obviously we're talking about men, but what is it that, as men, you know what I was like, suppressing stuff and egos in the way, and I don't need all that pansy stuff. Like, what are you, which obviously is total rubbish. What are you looking for in regards to where people are at, what they want to experience? Who are those people?
I think you almost said it before, just in what you were talking about with your success mentor, and then people opening up to or really questioning who they are and finding that they don't need to be lost in life or anything like that. It's just people who are questioning their own beliefs and really want to open up and express and connect and listen and communicate. And as much as you or I can be teachers, we're still very much students, and we'll always be students for the rest of our lives. And I think that's the beauty of the gift of giving and receiving is I just like to bring those people in that they can really receive what they need to receive for themselves, but also give. They're the people that I want to bring, that I'd like to bring in and just really open up that circle of what do they want out of life? Because obviously I have experiences, you have experiences, other people in the group have experience, and we can all learn new ways of thinking, new beliefs, anything at all that helps us move away from the beliefs we currently have and the view that we currently have, mainly of ourselves, not so much of the outside world, but of ourselves, because that's the biggest battle is the perception of moving beyond ourselves and seeing the world the way we want to see the world. So they're the people I'd love to bring in. Ideally, anybody who's open to it, of course, I think in essence, they're the people I'd love to bring in. But this door is open to everyone. Obviously, being a men's circle, we're talking about men. And I said it earlier in the conversation, we're great at getting down the pub and having a beer and having the chin wag about anything. And rarely do we actually sit down and talk about anything meaningful in those environments. And I think as men, we're coming into an age now where men do want to talk. And they want to be seen, heard, listened, and soothed even. And I think men want to be soothed by men, that they know that they're not alone in their experiences, whether they're negative or positive, that they can share those experiences and they're not going to feel judged. They're going to be in a container that is safe, that, hey, there's probably another guy sitting on the other side of the world there who's had the exact same experience. And through my experiences, that is the truth. And I think that's really allows us to open up and really express how we feel. It takes that backpack that a lot of us carry, and it allows us to pull things out, put them on the table and let them go. So hopefully they're the people we bring in, but again, open to anyone. And I think if you have a sense of openness, you'll really start to feel it in here.
Yeah, wow. That was fantastic, Jace. Thank you. And I love the way that, like you say, the door is open. The sign's very clear. And if what you read on the outside resonates, it's going to be amplified tenfold on the inside. So, yeah. And I just want to say personally, thank you for showing up for this call, because I've received personally a lot. Not only have I got to learn a little bit more about you and what's driving you and where you want to go, but also just spending the time with you is always something that fills my cup. So thank you for being a leader in the world, for truly loving yourself enough and learning to love yourself even more, to really show up the way you do. So thank you, brother.
Yeah. Thank you to Martin for providing the space as well and facilitating the space. So beautiful.
You're welcome, bro. You're welcome. So if you want to join YDS, you want to connect with Jason, you want to come and experience all of the other value from the other presenters in here, you know exactly what to do. We look forward to seeing the community. And I just want to once again say thank you, Jason.
No worries. Thank you, Martin. Pleasure speaking.
Yeah, mate. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.